In this lesson, I'm going to share with you some elements to an excellent story writing. Hey guys, it's great to see you again in English Made Possible with me, Teacher M. Today, I'm going to reveal to you some amazing steps on how to write a good story. When writing a story, or we call it a narrative essay, in most cases it tells about your own experience, you as the first person point of view, or other people's experience, the third person point of view. It allows you to be more personal and creative. Show your ability to tell a story in a creative and compelling way to hook the reader's attention. Tip number 1. The most important elements in writing a story is you need to have a plot. What is a plot? A plot is a storyline. Organization is very important to ensure an interesting flow of your story. You are expected to think how your story begins and how it ends. You must have the sequence of events that make up a story. Beginning. That's when you try to promote the initial idea on what your story is all about. Middle. This is the moment where you involve your audience into the story, facing all the happiness, sadness, the misery, the adventures, the suspense, the challenges, or the mystery behind your story. Ending. The closing of your story. It plays a very important role to leave your readers with a total satisfaction and inculcate them with a great ethic and moral values. Based on the plot chart here, this is how you can plan your story. A plot in literary terms involves exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Let's refer to the plot here.
Exposition. It was late at night. Sam was watching a horror movie in his room. Rising action. He suddenly heard a strange sound and looked outside his window to investigate. Climax. He saw a burglar trying to break in his neighbor's house. Falling action. He immediately called the police to make a report. Resolution. The police arrived quickly and the burglar was arrested. Sam's parents were very proud of him.
Choose one event that happened to the character. Can be an interesting one or a dreadful one based on the title given. Next, for tip number 2, know the characteristics of a story writing. These are some of the characteristics of a story writing. A dangerous incident that creates suspense. For example,
a burglary, when you witness a burglar trying to break in your neighbor's house. An adventure, when you were lost in a jungle and tried to find your way out. A house on fire, when you saw a house on fire and immediately called the firemen for a rescue. The firemen managed to put out the fire. The owner of the house was very thankful for your good deeds.
Next, a memorable event or unforgettable experience in your life. This usually involves the exciting event. For example,
meeting someone, a moment of excitement when you were able to get in touch with your former school friends. Your holiday experience, riding on the hot air balloons. A celebration, after a lot of struggles and challenges, you finally gained your success an achievement.
An experience that changes your life. For example,
facing a mystery when you were able to reveal a mystery of an abandoned house. An experience that makes you a brave person. A situation when you had to save someone in trouble.
Tip number 3. Familiarize yourself with the structure and the questions. Now, let's move on to the question paper. A story writing will appear in paper 2 of your SPM English, part 3, question number 5. The last questions but the most favorite. Write your story in 200 to 250 words. You are given 40 minutes to answer the questions, and please write the title of your story. Let's look at the clock ticking diagram here for your division of time. You will spend the first 10 minutes to brainstorm for ideas and details related to the title of your story. You will spend 5 minutes to write the beginning of your story. Then, take about 15 minutes writing about the problems faced and solutions taken by the characters. After that, spend 5 minutes to write the ending of your story. And finally, use the remaining 5 minutes to check your essay. That was the time allocation on how to plan your writing. How about the layout or the structure of your story? For paragraph 1, you can have your exposition or introduction of your story. This paragraph should not be too long. 30 words will be just fine. For paragraph 2, the rising actions or the incidents leading to the climax of your story, you can have at least 70 words for this part. For paragraph 3, the climax is a moment of peak in the story, the exciting part or the greatest pressure of the story. You can allocate about 60 words. Next, for paragraph 4, the falling action, where the pressure of a story begins to slow down. You can have about 60 words for this part. And finally, in paragraph 5, please write your resolution, the ending of the story where all the problems faced by the characters are resolved. Write in about 30 words. So the structure will come to a total number of 250 words. The ending should not be too long, just a brief and short one. For example, to thank or praise someone, to show gratitude for a good deed, to state moral values, and to promise not to repeat the same mistakes in life. Now, let's look at the sample question here.
Write a story about a memorable experience that has changed your life. The story must include an unexpected event you had experienced and how your life changed after the event.
Brainstorm for the details or storyline. Please be creative. Choose an event which relate to your life or someone else's life. You may also adapt and adopt ideas from a movie you have watched or a storybook that you have read before. For example, meeting a famous film director in a coffee shop. Look at the storyline here.
I met a famous film director at a coffee shop. I dropped my spoon on the floor to get his attention. He bent down to pick up my spoon. I was so amazed. We had a conversation. I shared my ambitions of becoming an actress. He offered me an audition for an acting career.
Next, tip number 4. Identify the tenses you want to use in your writing. Can be past or present. I would suggest you to use past tense. It is the most common tense used in story writing. For tip number 5, describing the setting, when and where. You have to decide when does the story take place. For example, last December, one fine evening, in the middle of the night, or many years ago. Next, decide or identify where does the story take place. Can be at a coffee shop, on the highway, on a train, in a school, or in a haunted house. Let's look at the example here.
I just finished my acting class and passed by the Malur coffee shop for the first time. The rich aroma of delectable coffee caught my attention. A barista welcomed me with his charming smile. I got a cup of cappuccino and made myself comfortable on a bulky wooden chair at the corner of the shop.
The highlighted phrases emphasize on the setting of the story. Next, for tip number 6, make your characters interesting. Who are the characters? Let your characters come alive by describing them vividly. The character can be you yourself as the main character, or you can imagine and give name to your characters. Zack, Anna, Uncle Joe, Coco. If you have minor characters, you may just address them as the young man, the doctor, the taxi driver, the waitress, or the vampire. You may describe the characters based on appearance, personality, habits. Let's look at this example on how to describe the characters.
I was about to take the first sip from my cup of coffee when I saw Zach Abdul, a famous film director, sitting at a table next to mine. I admire him for his talented skills in filmmaking. Dashing as always, he was wearing a gray leather jacket with a flat cap. I was surprised when he politely offered me to join him at his table. I was absolutely amazed with his friendly demeanor. I started questioning him impatiently about his career achievements. My cheeks dimpled and turned rosy when he offered me an audition as an actress.
The highlighted words are the adjectives and adverb used to tell about the characters. Let's move on to tip number 7. Use conjunctions or linkers to connect ideas. They help to relate ideas between sentences and paragraphs. For example,
all of a sudden, I saw Zach Abdul having coffee next to my table. Although I was extremely excited, I tried to reserve myself. So, I continued eating my sandwich and pretended not to notice him. But at the same time, I was thinking on how to strike a conversation. Soon, I purposely took opportunity by dropping my spoon on the floor, hoping to get his attention. Consequently, he bent down and picked up my spoon. Then, he offered me to join him at his table.
And the last one, but not the least, tip number 8, use idiomatic expressions in your writing. This is to emphasize and to improve your writing quality. However, use them moderately. For examples,
in the twinkling of an eye, in just short time, on top of the world, to feel very happy, grin from ear to ear, to look very satisfied. Once in a blue moon, a rare occasion. In the same boat, in the same situation. A light bulb moment. A moment when you realize or understand something. Beat around the bush, to say something indirectly.
Let's have a look at example to refer to the usage of idioms in your story writing.
I was beating around the bush to hint the fact I was studying acting. It's a light bulb moment that Zach understood what I had in mind. I grinned from ear to ear when Zach took my details for a casting. My acting career began in the twinkling of an eye.
Well guys, that's all for today. See you again in English Made Possible with me, Teacher M. Please leave your comments below and do subscribe to my channel for more interesting lessons.